Tales of the Legion Project podcast, Reader's Roundup. Hello and welcome to the 18th episode of the Tales of the Legion Project podcast. I am your host, Eric.
And I'm Peter.
And today we are here to do something new and fun. We're going to discuss our own personal Legion-related reading from current comics. Well, sort of current. Depending if we're reading them from the stands or from the app. New to us, Legion issues, Legion in the news, Legion. It's a catch-all type of episode for Peter and I to casually chat about Legion stuff.
Yeah, as a first, sort of, right? Like when we did the Zoom live chat, that was a generic, casual, off-the-cuff kind of conversation. But most of our episodes, even when we do reviews of movies, like on the Tales, we still have kind of like a format and whatever. But there is no format.
A free-for-all.
Yeah, we're going to just see how it rolls. And maybe by the end of it, we're like, oh, maybe we do need structure. No, as Eric almost spits all over his. Just did a spit take.
Hey, something I also noticed, since this is the 18th Tales episode, you had in the Legion Project notes generally that this is the 68th overall episode.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I just like the 1868. For not being a numbers or a strong math guy, for some reason when it comes to comics, I'm just obsessed with numbers.
Yeah.
And issue numbers, how many I've read, things like that. It's just like I love talking, and I just did in my end of the year, or no, my favorites episode where I talk about the stuff I read last year, but then I kind of look forward. Anyway, I just talk numbers all the time, and I wonder, do other comic book people actually like this? Like that kind of stuff? Do you like that kind of stuff?
We are creatures of, organization. I'll put that loosely, but you know what I mean? Like we are creatures of, our whole hobby is based on what are we missing? What do we need to buy? Which issue? Which volume? How many issues in that mini series? Yeah. So we're all about. Yeah. That's very true. Yeah.
That's funny you say that because I had a missing issue for something Legion related. I'll talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah, as Eric said, it's just our way to think of it as like a pit stop along the way, like a save spot in a video game, right? Like we try to keep a current eye in our regular episodes, but sometimes they don't always come out in enough time, or they're so focused on a particular issue that it's not the main focus, right? So then our current talk gets buried at the end of an episode, So this is our way to do that. And we called it Reader's Roundup after the one section in the old Legion letter column. In the letter columns where they would just quick fire answer questions or respond to a comment. So I thought, oh, that's a great title. Let's just use it. I'm sure we're not the first Legion podcast to use it. But as Eric said, it may be stuff we're reading. I have a topic or two that just didn't fit anywhere else. If we like this and listeners like it, we could do it again like in another 6 months or whenever some other major Legion news drops, or if there's just something we're dying to talk about. So it's perfect for Tales. It's perfect for our conversation, our ongoing conversation. I'm excited about it.
Ooh, that makes me think, Peter, maybe we should do another live chat.
Oh, I think we should.
Down the road.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yep.
And so what is the since you said all that, what is the comic book equivalent of what we're doing here? Is it like when like for example, Tom King took a break from writing Wonder Woman and then for a few issues and then so we got a fill-in team coming in for like I said a few issues of that. And then he and Daniel is it Sampere or Sampere? Do you know?
I don't, and I should have. There's a particular CGS episode that's going to drop that would be perfect for, and I did.
Ah,
I should have looked that up.
we'll have to look that up. Yes. Anyway, they'll come back. Is this kind of like that or what
No,
is
we're
this
not.
something else?
We're not a
I mean,
fill-in.
we're
We're
not a
the
fill-in.
hosts.
Right, but I mean not for the team, but you know for the
Yeah.
for the subject matter, I guess.
It's like an annual
Or that I thought of that too.
or maybe a
Okay.
special. You know.
A special. Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly. Tales of the Tales of the Legion Project podcast special 2025.
Readers Roundup special or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, yes, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. Because I hate, see, this is why this episode's going to be great. I do not like the podcast terminology that has come out for the type of show that we do where they call them index shows.
Oh,
Because indexes, the old indexes, which we love, Legion, Justice League, New Teen Titans, Crisis, Doom Patrol, Hawkman, Millennium, et cetera, rattled those off my head, folks.
I was gonna say,
Um,
wow. I didn't know there was a Hawkman one.
Yeah, yeah. Um, they're kind of dry, right?
Yeah.
They list who's on the cover, they list the title, they list the creative team, they have a short synopsis, they might have a comments section, and then they do the synopsis. That's it. There's no editorializing, there's no commentary
Yeah.
except for that one little blurb, right? So when I hear index show, I think, well, that just sucks the fun out of what we're doing, I understand that that's like the word they're used, the phrase.
Yeah.
We don't do an index show, folks. We do issue by issue, we do issue by issue, but, we have conversations, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, so in the grand terms of like what type of episode this is, it's funny because in my notes for like the Daily Rios, I think I even might have mentioned it to you about like why don't podcasters do an annual? We do a lot of like anniversary episodes and end of year episodes, which could be annuals, but like do an annual, like here are all. This is like what we're doing. Here are all the topics we don't ever get to, all in one anthology style podcast annual special,
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, that's kind of what this is.
So actually, then we should have waited until summer, right? Because that's traditionally annual time.
Yeah, sure.
Although, is it still? I
No.
don't. Yeah, they don't really adhere to that anymore, right?
Yeah.
So
And they
so
do it
never
more
mind.
by the year now, right? Like especially Marvel, it's always Spider-Man annual #1, regardless of what year it is, right? So in my notes, I put Spider-Man annual 2026 because it's really probably like the 30th annual by now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and since I just did this on my feed, I took a look at the Titans Annual 2025, and that's what they call it.
Yeah.
That Donna Troy spotlight by Phil Jimenez.
Right.
And so I love that. I love that DC's doing that. And we should, I think the whole comic book comic book publishers should embrace that idea of using years as part of their titles in a sense so that we don't have to, is this volume 6 or is it volume 10?
Well,
That
I
kind of a
still
thing.
want to know how many annuals though.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
Like probably for Titans, that's probably the first one. I can't remember if this current volume has had other ones, but
Oh, sure. Yeah. Titans Annual 25, 2032 or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. But include that so that it's easier to help us identify where this fits in the overall thing,
Right.
scheme.
by the way, I can't listen to that episode because I have yet to read that issue.
Oh, I thought for sure you would have read that issue
No,
by now.
no.
Oh, Peter, you're
haven't
going
read
to
it.
love it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, it's so good.
See, we're already off topic.
Well, okay. So since we're talking about New Teen or Titans, I have a question for you.
Okay.
That is Titans related, but it's also Legion related.
Okay.
I was thinking about this last night before I went to bed. Um, and in part because I just did that episode and in anticipating this one. So when, for example, when I joined Blue Sky, one of the first things I did was seek out the communities on Blue Sky for people that love Legion and love New Teen Titans, or just Titans generally, right? And Facebook groups, there are those that are there for both of those camps. I'll just say those entities. But what I and this is just could be personal bias, for the things that I've found,
Mm-hmm.
and there may be things I haven't found, but it seems like there is more interest in Legion than New Teen Titans, for example. And I find that interesting because, 40 years ago, those two titles were always battling it out for which one was, in the top spot for DC at least, and maybe even, generally at that time, early on. And now, like I said, 40 years later, I find Legion seems to be more prevalent. Does that make sense to you? Has that been your experience as well?
Yes. Because you have to remember, what are we talking about? So we're talking about Legion of Superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Legion of Superheroes has been Legion of Superheroes regardless of the reboot. New Teen Titans, which you said, New Teen Titans has only been New Teen Titans in the 80s.
Right.
And then it changed to New Titans. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what have we gotten since? Titans. The Titans. Team Titans. Team Titans. There's never been another New Teen Titans, no matter how hard they try to replicate it in the roster or in the types of story. Jeff Johns came really close. In his Teen Titans series, it was an inverse of the New Teen Titans. The old established characters, Robin, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, were now the younger characters, including Superboy. All the new Teen Titans, Beast Boy, Raven, Cyborg, Starfire, were now the adults.
Mm-hmm.
That was the closest we got to the New Teen Titans era with a new modern twist and storytelling. And it was great. It was great. No matter how many times you put the roster back together again, it will never be New Teen Titans. So that I feel is the reason why. Because when we talk about New Teen Titans, we are talking about a very specific time in comics, in Titans history. When we talk about Legion of Superheroes, go for it. Pick a year, pick a decade, pick an era.
But do you feel that so I originally came at this from the perspective of an old reader, literally. Someone who read both titles back when they were being produced in the 80s, right? And of course, 40 years have passed, and it's not just people of my age, our age, if I could be so bold to include you in that.
Sure.
There are younger readers, younger than us, who have discovered Legion throughout the years, and there have been different versions of them that we've talked about in similar tales episodes. So people are always discovering these things as time goes on. And so, I guess what do you think the appeal is of the Legion, say, over the Titans? Because both groups of books have versions of the characters, rosters, if you will, different creative takes. It's a little different with the Legion because every time they have a reboot, seems to change various things about I won't say everything, but various things about the makeup of the team or the origin of the team or whatever. But they're always around in publication history. So what is it about Legion that you think that it is drawing in more people, perhaps? And that's probably a misnomer, but
yeah. How do you describe the Legion? They're a group of teenage they're a group of young heroes from across the galaxy that take place in DC's future.
Hmm.
What are the Titans? Which ones? You know? Oh, New Teen Titans. Well, New Teen Titans was easy. They were
Hmm.
the sidekicks of the Justice League of America formed together into a new family. Some people called it the Junior Justice League, but Marv
Right.
Wolfman was like, it is not the Junior Justice League. Um, they were the young generation. We have so many young generations in the DC universe right now that it has moved from, you have the Justice League, if you want to go this way. You have the sidekicks. Oh, now we have the secondary 90s versions of them. Oh,
Hmm.
now we have a new generation right now where they are actually the sons and daughters of the Justice League, not just wards and adoptees and random street thugs, that just took the mantle on. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the Titans used to mean that middle generation, and it still does in some level, but there are so many middle generations that I think it's hard to grasp, right? Like it's like the Legion of Superheroes, the rosters may change, but the name of the team, the Legion of Superheroes, is we get what that is.
Hmm.
Titans, new Teen Titans, like I said, Teen Titan. Which one? What do you want? Oh, I like the Titans when they are, well, what's coming out now? Coming up, like Terra, I think is coming back, and
Right.
is it Spoiler? I think, or
I think so.
uh, and whoever else is on that cover that I can't think right now, like some people like that. Some people like the cartoon version of Teen Titans, that makeup. Some people like, I don't know, pick a the new DCKO, the kids are all fight at the end of that issue where that particular team, people are saying like that's a Titans, like so. I don't know. I think it's hard to replicate the new Teen Titans era. It can't. How do you do that? You can't do that. There's just way too many generations right now, and Wolfman and Perez were just on their game. Plus, DC was different. DC was so different back then. Like storytelling was so different in DC that's the reason why that book really poked through because it was
Yeah.
just, you know, maybe that's why. Maybe because again, Legion, you can push off into a corner. It's the future. They have nobody to compete with. Titans, everything then became written like Titans. So, it's kind of like when people read Dark Knight for the first time and they're like, why was this so I don't get it. I'm like, yeah, you don't get it because you're not putting into context
Yeah, that's true.
of where it landed. It was a bomb.
Hmm.
Not a bad bomb. It was a bomb that just exploded in the middle of comic industry. Watchmen, boom, take it. New Teen Titans was the same way. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're onto something there. In a sense, even though they reboot the Legion all the time, and that's one of our complaints, or at least some segment of the fandom, that's one of the complaints is they just change all the time. But in a sense, they are kind of a monolith concept. Like you said, it's very easy to distill it down, whereas the Titans is not so much. But I would also add to that I think we've had a version of the Titans ever since 1980. Well, even going even further back, right? With the Teen Titans, the original volume,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the Legion has taken some breaks over the years. And when they bring them back, it's not always as welcomed as the Titans seem to be.
Hmm.
Maybe
Hmm.
because I think the Titans, because they're mostly made up of familiar characters. Many of them, well, I shouldn't say that. Nightwing usually has his own series these days, so you have that support. Plus, they're tied into the Justice League in various ways and whatnot. So maybe it just seems a lot more familiar to the newer readers coming into DC all the time. And the Legion is just kind of it's referenced but not around, and we got that last version that nobody seemed to like, and but we have that great anticipation now for what Joshua Williamson
Yeah.
may bring to the Legion. But I don't sense that same kind of excitement about the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you were talking, I was thinking when you mentioned Terra and the others, I'm like, wait a minute, are they kind of riffing on because there's all this pent up anticipation for a new Legion book. Are they wanting to try to invigorate the Titans line by bringing in these old concepts? So anyway, it'd be
Yeah.
very interesting to see how that actually all turns out.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you go back to Terra, I just think it's a misstep.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, who are we getting? We might be getting, I guess, Superman's son. Yara Flora, the Wonder Girl from Brazil. Um, yeah. Yeah, I mean, both concepts, I think, got neutered, for lack of a better word.
Mm.
Um, when you mess around with the Legion too much, and then you bring them all together, all the versions together, like Final Crisis Legion of Three Worlds is great. It's a great miniseries, great artwork, whatever. But at some point you got to draw the line in the sand and say there's only one version of the Legion, you know?
Mhm.
And or you have to totally reinvent it and hope it sticks. Not reboot it, reinvent it. Like
Yeah.
new characters, another 1,000 years. We talked about this,
Yeah,
a bunch
yeah.
of
I was
times
gonna
now.
say you've mentioned this
Yeah,
a few times now over the years,
yeah. So
and they don't listen.
they don't listen. I'm so nervous about this new series. So nervous about it. And it's one of the things, like I'm assuming one of our topics is going to be about the Omega Legion, right? Like it's interesting now in the DC universe to have this alternate bad Legion that is tied to Darkseid, which has precedence. Like if there's one thing that I really like about Legion stories is when they rise from the bottom. 5 years later is that way. There's the end of the Archie Legion going into it's the same continuity but going into the Abnett and Lanning Legion, where they had like a few like the Blight storyline and widening rifts and whatever, Legion of the Damned and all that, like, and then they went into the title just the Legion. There was an element of that, of like the Legion scattered, right, and they have to rise up. Great. Legion Lost, the first Legion Lost miniseries, which is also around that time. Great, because they have to fight their way to wherever it is they need to go. You know what I mean? So this concept of the Omega Legion, even though they're the absolute universe version of it, like, and we finally are starting to see hints that they're not so evil,
Yes.
or that there's a reason why they are the way they are. Just like the entire absolute DC universe, it's all based on Darkseid. It's all based on Darkseid energy. But there was a clue just recently, which we can talk about, But anyway, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this Legion because at least it's different.
Oh, yes.
It's like familiar but different. So,
Do you? But that makes me think. Do you think people like, just for lack of a better phrase, long-time Legion fans, whatever that means, do you think they're put off by this? Because I'm with you. I'm excited about what we're seeing here. As long as because I guess my one complaint about the Omega Legion in the various issues that I've read them in, and I'm probably not as well read as you because I haven't yet read all the DC KO tie-ins and whatnot.
oh, I haven't read them all either.
Well,
I
I
haven't
know you.
read I haven't read the Flash that they're in, so I haven't read
Oh,
those. But I read DCKO 4, which is what I'm referencing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and you have
Well,
to. Yeah.
but I know, yeah, but I know you've read some other things too because you've mentioned it on CGS,
Okay.
but that I haven't read. So, but like I said, I'm excited about what's going on here, except for uh, a lot of the appearances. They're really kind of one note. They're like, it's almost like they almost come across as, "I'm evil and I'm going to kill you now."
Right.
And then they don't. They constantly fail at what they say they're going to do. It's a wonder that Darkseid doesn't just kill them all. Anyway, so yeah, I just do long term or long time fans just look at this and go, ugh.
You know how longtime Legion fans are. They're so, you know. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, they're used right now as a, for lack of a better word, gimmick, but the Legion are an important part of the DC universe. That they're using them this way. I mean, I when that double page spread, Dan Mora, and they were all evil, and that was Darkseid's army. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, because they're, like you said, they're not in conversation right now, so at least you're using them for something. You're doing something, and it makes sense. You know, like you can connect back to the Great Darkness saga. Like you can, Darkseid is part of the Legion history. So, okay, you know. Now, when you start layering on, and they're doing this slowly, like, you know, what does Superman remember when it comes to the Legion? When he was Superboy, because now that's back again. Like, how does it connect?
Yes.
The new history of the DC universe didn't really give us any information at the end there, frustratingly, you know. So it's like, yeah, they're holding on to it. There hasn't been previews, there hasn't been solicitation, there hasn't been leaks. Like, nothing is coming out yet. So it makes me think like they're either waiting for the end of DCKO.
Oh, they have to.
Yeah, they have to. But then that makes me think, is it because the Omega Legion is going to play a part, or a legion of superheroes from our future, which is right now gone, right? The mainline DC universe future is erased. That's the whole reason why we're doing DCKO, is because there is no future.
Oh yeah, that's right. I guess I kind of glossed over that
Right.
that aspect of it. It's like, oh my God, wow, they have really engineered a wonderful opportunity. I'll just say to set up the Legion in whatever way they're going to.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It's tricky because, you know, when we're reading current comics, the mainline DC universe is still going on, but DCKO, the Quantum Quorum, when they came to the Justice League, they said Darkseid already won.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to go back 7 days and do this. We have to do something, and they came up with this tournament idea, right? And the Quantum Quorum was actually holding time so that it could move a little slower. But they said Darkseid has already won. He has come from the future. He has wiped out the future. He's getting closer and closer to this point. He already won. Now we need to go back 7 days. We're going to do this tournament thing to hold off. So that's why there is no. That's what makes me think like it has to happen after DCKO, because either the Omega Legion have to be defeated, or if the future is restored, whatever that new version of Legion is will come and take care of the Omega Legion.
And we have seen various members, various iterations
Yes.
of Legionnaires in that future. And so those Legionnaires, the ones that survive I think they actually called it the Legion War.
Yeah.
They're still around, or maybe they're not because of Darkseid 1, but you know that.
And there was that whole Superboy Prime storyline in the one Superman issue when they went to go look for Booster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of what you're referencing, and
yeah.
yeah.
Since you said something about what Superman remembers about the Legion, he did make. I was trying to find the issue that he made this comment in, but he mentioned something too. I think. Oh, I think it was the first one, 28. Uh, yeah. Here it is. I think he was talking to his mother, and he said the last time that I saw them, they were different. The future is always changing, uncertain. And I think that's all. That's a nod to the previous iteration of the Legion that we got, and as well as seeing different members that he may not have been familiar with. So yeah, the fact that the I love that they, even though the Legion is set in a particular future, the way, at least in the Superman book, the way they're treating this is that the future is uncertain. So yeah, things would be fluctuating a little bit, and maybe that's okay. Maybe that's how we have. Maybe that is the Legion book that we get, is that they're going to bring in this character from that version and this character from that version. What I don't want out of that, however, is, oh, let's just include everybody's favorites and make that the new team now, without any good reason for it. So I don't know. It's got to be more than, oh, they're now just in this shared future and they're the team. And they always have been. If they make it a little more layered, perhaps I would enjoy that a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean they may go Legion Unlimited, right? We've mentioned that, that seems to be a thing now. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, in that Superman issue, we saw characters from the retro boot when they brought back, during Lightning Saga when they brought back,
Yep. Hmm.
and they're all in like the Gary Frank designs, and we have Kinetics,
Yep.
who is from the reboot, and you have Gold Lantern, bleh, who's from Bendis run, and then that shot, like you're saying, there's a shot of like all the Brainiacs, the original, the reboot, the Archie reboot, the Mark Waid, the Bendis, and the Omega Legion version, right there in Superman 29. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. But I do. I just like the Legion just because the Omega Legion, because it's at least using them, and yes, they do come across as cut from a very specific cloth.
Mm-hmm.
But as I mentioned at the end of Dark DCKO issue 4, there was like a little glimmer of like, oh, okay, so they are really being used. They're not just even though they're from the Absolute Universe, which is all tinged with dark side stuff. You could pretty much go either way. They are still being used. And there was something I read just recently. It might even have been something I'm going to talk about later, or maybe it was in Action Comics. I don't know. There was something just recently. Yeah, I think it was something older where they used the word hope in terms of like the DC universe, not in a meta way, but it was just used, and I was like, yeah, look, see, yeah, this universe is always about hope. These characters, the Legion characters or whatever, always about hope. So all it needs to take is the Omega Legion to have that one thing that pushes them, just like the Absolute Batman, just like the Absolute Wonder Woman, just like Absolute Superman. Yeah, so either I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go or not.
Yeah, so that's been the one thing that has, just generally speaking about the absolute universe, that I find interesting, is that the dark side universe, I don't know, whatever, is it the Omega universe? I don't know what the official term for this thing is.
Absolute Universe, or Earth Alpha, I think they call
Oh,
it.
that's right. Yeah. Earth. Oh wait, what's Earth Omega? See, I get confused on this stuff. Anyway,
It's called the Alpha World. It was the Elseworld. There was an Earth Omega, but that
Oh, okay.
was it the old was it the old DC universe? Like
Yeah,
it had to do with like Dark Crisis and the Great Darkness and all
yeah.
that. Yeah,
And I didn't really follow that, so that's
right.
why I'm not as descriptive as as I should be. But the thing that I really like about this is that uh, so the absolute world, I'll just call it that, is infused with omega energy, dark side. And so despite that, we have, so far a core set of, I'll say, Justice League members that have risen up despite that. And I haven't read all of the Absolute books. I've only read four of them. Um, but at the core, those characters are the same. The dressing is a little different. They have a different approach to things than what we're used to. But at the core, Superman still is trying to do good and help others. So is Batman, so is Wonder Woman, all that kind of stuff. Even though this world is infused with Omega energy. And at the end of, can we go to DCKO4 and talk about
Sure.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the end of that, there's a couple pages, and this is actually, so we have DCKO4, but then I think didn't it, the bit at the end, that was a separate story. It's related, but it was a separate story written by Joshua Williamson.
Yes.
And in that Darkseid, uh, let's see here, Darkseid in that, I don't know, energy construct or whatever it is, they're seeing his face, but he's not physically there, I think. But he says, "You have done well, Saturn Girl." He's talking about the whole DCKO thing. They believe they can build Omega energy as I did, control the heart of Apocalypse, can crown themselves King Omega. Saturn Girl says, "I will go with your legion and stop them." Oh, and of course, this is, I guess maybe spoilers for people who may not have read this, but we find that our trinity of superheroes in the Absolute Universe are under Darkseid's sway, or at least oh yeah, that's right, a version of them, a future version where they're more vulnerable, is how I took it, because it's not the same characters we're reading currently in their books. It's something that's going to happen, apparently. But Darkseid's like, their efforts are in vain. They'll struggle, but I'll be back. You will instead find me a vessel to possess. She says, of course. You are my most loyal servant. You must be rewarded. Look into my mind, gaze into its depths. And she was like, I don't know about that. You're king. You're the king. But he's like, he commands it. And this is that moment I think you were talking about, right? It says here, and this is from the perspective of the heart. Yeah, the heart of Apocalypse, right? That white text on the black background that's been throughout DCKO. Saturn Girl could not find the words to describe what she saw. It was more than the past, present, or future. It was beyond darkness. In that moment, she understood something, a single phrase that haunted all who heard it. Darkseid is. Saturn Girl saw that Darkseid would always win, that in the end there would be nothing. All of life, past, present, future, are meaningless. There's only Darkseid. But for a moment, she saw a glimpse of something else, a light that shined, a creation of a different kind. And then we see that overlaid with a picture of, I always want to call him by the name he was under in Superman. And something I'm blanking. Peter, help me. He's Time Trapper now.
Oh, Time Trapper.
Yeah.
Doomsday. Yeah.
Doomsday. God. Yeah. So, okay. So that to me that's the sliver of hope that they're going to do something with this Omega Legion beyond being Darkseid's army,
Right.
beyond DCKO, right? And but given that they show Time Trapper, I'm like, what? what does that mean exactly? You know, because this time trapper, you know, he's an interesting character, but I haven't I everything I've read so far with him in Superman and in DCKO, he doesn't suggest to me hope. So what's going on? So do you have any thoughts on this?
I do not. It was, I want to point out something real quick though. Um, when Darkseid is talking about the absolute characters, and he says, um, or Saturn Girl says, "Do you wish for us to go back to that moment and kill them? No, go to their near future where they are weaker and retrieve them. Do not engage with their present." So they're the, I don't think you meant to imply that they're different alternate versions of the absolute characters,
No,
right?
no, no,
No.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just forgot that specific phrasing. No, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
I found that interesting, and also it's really smart on the editors or the right creators or whatever to do it that way because you know we're currently reading those characters and they're not Darkseid's pawns, at
Right.
least as far as we know, but they obviously are being controlled in this weird future present. I don't know.
Yeah. If
What
they
they're
pull
what they're
them,
doing is just so weird.
yeah. I mean, it's good because then you keep them away from the absolute line, which is very successful right now. You know, DC is caught off guard by it, so it's almost like, oh, we could keep them away for years before they're like, okay,
That's true. Yes.
this is when Darkseid decided to pull them from, from this time. He says when they're weaker, but I don't know, maybe they look stronger. It almost looks like, as you said, they're forming a Justice League. There's Green Arrow right there. So, um, yeah, but what this whole thing is, I don't know. I don't know what she could possibly see. A creation of a different kind is an unusual. There's so many things they can pull from.
Yes.
Do they pull from like the origins of the DC universe? Are they pulling from the end of time? Are they pulling from the Legion time? Are they pulling from the White Lanterns? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I
Well,
actually, in my notes, because we're going to do an episode on CGS about this, I think next week, as we're recording this. Um, I got to the end of this issue and went, I actually have no idea other than a few little things of what's going to happen. I
oh yeah.
cannot figure this ending out. And I'm usually really good at that. And I'm like, other than a few big beats that I think are going to happen that seem like that have nothing to do with what we're talking about, that part of what just happened, I was like, oh, I have that. If it's a Legion thing, great, but I have no idea.
So here's my thought on that. Given that they showed Time Trapper and uh, take that with what is shown in some Superman issues with Superboy Prime, he does make reference, Superboy Prime makes reference to the Pocket Universe that Time Trapper created.
Mm,
That's where Superboy Prime has been hiding out or staying. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but put those two things together, and that to me suggests that the Pocket Universe is going to play into this.
oh my God. Is there a Pocket Universe Legion? Is that where they went to hide?
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Oh
because
God.
as far as we know, those Legionnaires that are still
Out
the,
there.
the survivors of the Legion War are still in that future that Darkseid won in or is about to. I don't know.
Yeah, because there was one at the end of the one Superman issue where Superboy Prime puts on the ring and then he goes and fights that with them against the Omega Legion, but then it fades to white. And then we don't know what happened, although Superboy Prime does show back up again, but it's
Hmm.
like, well, what happened? Where are those characters? So,
True. Oh, that's right.
yeah.
Yes. Ooh, yeah. Maybe they're there, safe and sound, and
Oh
what?
my
Yeah. What
God,
comes
not the
next?
not the Pocket
I
Universe. Oh
know. I
my
don't.
God.
From a meta standpoint, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like we've already played with the Pocket Universe. Why do we need it? I don't know. It's all part of DC history, but it's like, can't they come up with something else? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I think an amalgamated version of the Legion, while interesting, I think just sets up way too many things. You know, like look at poor Power Girl after the Crisis,
Oh
where she
yeah,
didn't know what she was. You know, she was wrapped up in Arion, the Lord of Atlantis. You know, that whole thing, and then and then they did restore her as an Earth 2 Kryptonian, but then after Infinite Crisis, like there was no Earth 2, but yet there was an Earth 2, but it wasn't quite the Earth 2 that we knew. You know, like it's
that's
like
right.
she's just even to this day and age, she has no identity. I mean, it's just it's really kind of and I feel like that's what's going to happen. You know, if Kinetics is in an amalgamated version of the Legion, but her Legion doesn't exist, her time doesn't exist, her reality doesn't exist, what's her connection? It's almost like Miles Morales in the 616 when he pulled him
Mm,
from the Ultimate Universe to 616 universe. I'm not well read on Miles Morales, but does he have a family in the 616? Did he inherit a family? Did he get adopted by the Miles Morales family in this? I don't know.
yeah,
You know, like, is that what they're going to do? Like, you know, does so I don't know if that's what I want.
yeah. And I'll add to that. It's like it kind of reminds me of Voyager, Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
In the pilot, right? They set up this potential conflict between Starfleet officers and the Maquis
Oh, right,
folks,
right,
right?
right.
And then by the end of the pilot, they're like, "Oh, we're just all one big happy family," and then from then on, with a few exceptions, they were just one homogenous crew.
Yeah.
So I hope they don't. If they do an amalgamated Legion, like you were saying, with Kinetics as the example, I hope they don't do this hand wavy thing of like they just ignore that angst of these people being thrown uh, away, not thrown away, being dislodged from their future, their universe, whatever, into this other thing that's not there from that they are not familiar with,
Yeah.
without any kind of fallout from that.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm thinking of it in terms of character development and character struggle and all that kind of stuff. I'd be okay with it if they did that. I agree with you generally. That's maybe not the right way to go, but if they did, I would want something out of it from the characters, and not just, oh, we're just going to be friends and never discuss our issues with whatever the situation is now.
Yeah.
And man, we are way out in the weeds for
I know.
for all this
That's
stuff.
what this episode's all about. The only
Woo!
other option is if they really do amalgamate all the Legion universes and the strongest versions of those characters survive, so you get um Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, the ones that we know, not the Bendis versions, but the ones that we know. Like you get the Trinity, right? But you get Kinetics, but her origin and her back history and her backstory is as a member of the Legion. And you get Gold Lantern, and he has been part of this Legion. So it's kind of like at the end of the Crisis, all those 5 Earths merged: Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 4, Earth S, Earth X. The Shazam universe, the Freedom Fighters universe, the Charlton Heroes universe, Earth 2 and Earth 1. But at the end of the day, it really was Earth 1 that won out.
Hmm.
And it just absorbed Earth 2's history, now taking place during World War II. It absorbed the freedom fighters, it absorbed everything. They've always coexisted. So you could do that, and I think I'd be okay. So, like, who are the standouts in the Archie reboot that we want to be included? Kinetics, not a snake sensor girl. She is the Sensor Girl that we know, right? That's the better version. Maybe there's a version from the Wade Kitson run that actually is a better
Uh-huh.
version, right? Okay, use them. Use that one. That's cool. And from the Bendis version, you can use the oddities, the Gold Lantern, the ones that have no counterparts, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Monster Boy or Dr. Fate or whatever, right? I don't know if I'd go any deeper than that. So is that the way to do it? And it's
Yeah.
all one history. They've all, you know.
See, I thought that's what you were suggesting before when you mentioned the amalgamated Legion.
No, I
So
think
you,
I'm in that instance I meant they would still remember what timeline they came from,
ah,
but in this one they would not.
okay. Okay, so it seems like we're sort of on opposite ends because I would actually prefer the the they do remember everything and that causes friction with the team and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But I would be fine with what you're suggesting, and you know just have them be a team. But yeah, how do we get there is the issue. And it's funny you mention all this because uh, I have been I have gone back and started reading a bunch of Legionnaires issues and
Mm-hmm.
Legion of Superheroes issues after I dropped that title,
Right.
after Zero Hour, and we get the reboot.
Yep.
And so I got all those issues, and I've been reading them because I've been curious. You know, some of the new characters, how the old characters are presented. I'm not liking it all that much, by the way. Uh, what they're doing to Cosmic Boy is just horrendous. Um, but I know from reading other people's posts, blog posts, or you know, on social media, you know, like Kinetics. You mentioned that one. I don't. I just got introduced to that character.
Right.
Well, in publication time, because I think she was in Legion of Three Worlds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I read that you know when that was published, but I hadn't read those other issues before that. And so what I was going to do was read through these issues, and then I was going to talk to you about this. What, given that we're coming up or we're going to get a new Legion, what Legionnaires from each version that we've gotten over the years would you like to see in the new makeup of the
Mm-hmm.
team? And I couldn't do that now because I've just gotten into like I said, Kinetics and
Right.
there's somebody else.
Gates,
XS,
XS. Well, and
Gates. Yes.
XS has been like absorbed over the many years. Like even when
Mm,
the Archie reboot was done, you know, they brought her back because she's kind of transcended, right? She was such a cool character, part of the Flash legacy, so she has been around.
right.
Gates is one I think they could, because he kind of fits the Hotellus mode, right? Like you have another quote unquote creature without making it a freaking snake, you know. Um, can you tell I don't like that version of Sensor Girl
I could,
or,
I
or
have not
Princess
gotten to that
Protector?
yet either.
Oh, sorry.
I
Um,
know I know of the character. I just don't know how she
yeah.
was presented.
Yeah. Here's one, because not only is it about the Archie reboot or the Mark Waid reboot or the Bendis reboot or the 50 new 50 whatever happened in the new 52, which I have just no idea what that's about. Um, the 5 years later, after 5 years later, before Zero Hour, you know, like or 5 years later, Kent Shakespeare is a
Yep.
fantastic character.
Yep.
Andromeda is a fantastic character, the replacement for Supergirl. You know, like, well, she was called Andromeda in, I guess, in the Archie reboot. I don't know if she was called that before it.
Yeah. It was just she was just Laurel Gand
Yeah,
in
Laurel Gand. Like
5 years.
I love Laurel Gand, you know. Um, so yeah, you could that is a fun game, and this is the first time I'm sort of really thinking about it. Like that is the different way to do it. You just make it. Maybe that's why Mark Waid said it's a version everybody will like because
Yeah.
they all just coexist. They've
Mhm.
always coexisted. They now blend it. It's in the Jeff Loeb Superman run with Ed McGuinness when they were mucking around with his origin, playing the truth about his origin or whatever. They showed a Krypton that was every version of Krypton. Silver Age, John Byrne, his version. So like you saw the way John Byrne drew Kryptonians, but that was because they were of a certain class. And then you saw like the headband wearing Silver Age versions. Like they all existed on Krypton. I was like, that's cool. I like that.
Hmm.
I like when alien worlds are not so homogenized, right? Like, yeah, that would make sense to me. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. You have a legion just as long as the versions that I feel are the strongest exist. And if, just like Earth 1 was the prime Earth for the Crisis Amalgamation, let the original team be the prime versions, right? Like, I don't know, maybe, you know, maybe there's somebody in the Wade Kitson that is a better version of but I don't know who that is because I would be really defensive about.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
No, you can't switch them. We like them.
Well, yeah, but we also don't want to have, just
Yes, we do.
our version of the Legion
Yes, we
be
do.
be the
Like, have you gotten to in the reboot? Have you gotten to Leviathan? Vi?
No,
Oh
no, I
shit! I
haven't.
keep giving you spoilers. My bad. Um, Shrinking Violet, as we are reading her now, it will always be my favorite version. Atom Girl was great in the Barry Kitson thing. That was fine. But that's a hard one for me. That would be a hard
Ah,
sell.
ah.
Things like that.
See, it's interesting you say that because that's one of the things about what I'm reading right now with those characters is I really like the Violet um, before this whole Leviathan thing that you're talking about.
Okay. Okay.
I really like her, and she may even rival
Okay.
Vi in what we're reading right now
Okay.
with
Yeah.
the Legion. So I'm quite enjoying her,
Yeah.
especially as she becomes more. Well, actually, there's an overlap there. There's a parallel because that Violet is starting to assert herself and become a much more interesting character, just like just like happened in our Legion volume as well. So yeah, but in different ways. They're doing it
Yeah.
differently. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, because I think what it is too is like in later versions, they get more of a personality.
Yeah,
Like Invisible Kid from have you met Invisible Kid in the Archie reboot?
the Lyle Norg version. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. That is the best. I think that is a great version
Oh yes, yes, I agree. What
because they
over
give
over
more.
Jacques?
I mean, over the original Lyle Norg.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Because
But if you're gonna choose between that Lyle
oh,
and Jacques as Invisible Kid,
no, you have
which
both. You can have both because they're different characters. They're
oh,
different identities. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like Lyle, which Lyle Norg version would be
oh
great.
yeah,
And it's the Archie reboot because they just gave him more to
hands
do.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but like, which Brainiac would you want? Which
Yeah.
Green Girl would you want? Does it matter? Colossal
Exactly.
Boy. Colossal Boy has such a, pick one, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Is it more interesting that he's actually a tall guy that can shrink, or is he a regular sized human that can grow? Um, Starboy, because I loved what they did during the 2000s with him, where he was, in the
When he
Justice
was
Society
he
and
became Starman in that
Starman, yeah,
in the
like
Lightning Saga.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which he shows up in one of the Superman issues, I think.
yep,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, he does, as
So
that version. So
yes,
that's why it's making me think like we could play this game with almost every character.
yeah,
Monel has been like Monel, even in Bendis, he was Monel,
yeah.
like that's fine. Um, but like Dawnstar in the Dan Abnett version, they created that other character where she looked almost like a dragonfly a little bit, and she was
Hmm.
kind of like a Dawnstar character.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I vaguely recall this. Yes,
I'm
okay.
forgetting her name, but it's
Yeah.
like which version of Dawnstar? Because our Dawnstar looks great, only has very little to do every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you go with? Do you go with a more alien looking version, or
Yeah.
the Bendis version? Like if you might as well just have the original because the Bendis version I don't think was any better looking visually. So yeah, that's a fun game. That's a fun game.
Although that's the version we're seeing right now. in the Superman issues.
We are.
I think so. The costume is the same.
I thought it was the Gary Frank version.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah, because it had like the little Bendis's version is like she's got
Yeah, I
face
think you're right now.
markings and all kinds.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, fun. That's fun. See, I would never would have thought that without this kind of conversation. Like Sunboy, which Sunboy do we use? You know,
Uh-huh.
in the Wade Kitson, he was kind of the same, I think, as the original. So you use the original, right?
Speaking of Superman 29, like I said, that's the one where we see a bunch of the Legionnaires,
Yeah.
and we see the result of, I guess, the Legion War. Um, there's a 2-page spread in there where you see all the Omega Legionnaires, and I counted there are at least 25 ones that you could distinctly see a costume on in the background. There were other characters in the background that you couldn't tell anything. There's no detail there. So there's at least 25 Omega Legionnaires. And so that, that also excited me too, is like, well, which other characters are we going to see? Who else is an Omega Legionnaire that we haven't seen yet? And it doesn't matter, probably not. But, will that come into play? Sorry. When you were talking, I thought, you know what? Because I don't think they're going to do this. DC is like, I think, missing out by not doing a DCKO special for the Legion War and just have all the versions of Legionnaires fighting each other for some reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what gets us the core, or the team makeup for what comes next. But that's probably a really bad idea.
Yeah. No, that'd be good. Like I said, they're holding on to them. They're just holding on to whatever that concept is. And if we sussed it out, that'd be amazing because that now I'm okay. Like if it is exactly what if it's what we just went through,
Hmm.
I would be okay with that Legion.
Really?
Yeah, I would be. I finally my tension has gone away, which probably means they won't do it because
Right.
it's too good of an idea, or they'll email us and say you need to cut that out of your podcast because
Or they'll change it to, in what was it, Armageddon? No,
yeah,
no.
yeah, Armageddon 2001,
Yeah. That whole reveal of who
yeah,
I can't remember the character's name
Monarch,
anymore.
yeah,
Monarch, yeah.
yeah. Can we go somewhere else? New topic?
Yeah,
Can we do
let's
a new
let's do
topic?
it.
Okay, let's do some quick fire topics, things that maybe won't take so long. So let me ask you this: you still buy Legion back issues? Are do you still seek out issues that you're missing?
It's funny you say that. Um, so the short answer is yes, but it was a weird circumstance. Um, I was at a local comic shop here with my friend Damien, and we were looking through the 50-cent bins for that they have there, and I was looking, just kind of looking to see what they had for Legion, which every shop I go to, I look to see what they have, just mostly out of curiosity because I have all the runs of Legion of Superheroes, the Legion, Legionnaires. I've got it. I mean, I don't have all the Superboy and the Legion stuff. I capped that at I got it started at Superboy 200,
Same here. Yeah.
I think, and everything else I have like in the omnibuses, like the Adventure and Action Comics appearances. So I think I have pretty much everything Legion wise, except for that's right. I don't have the only thing I don't have is the New 52 Legion Lost.
Oh, okay.
I have a few issues, but I don't have the whole thing. So I think that's what I was looking for. I didn't find that, but what I found was all issues of Legion Worlds
Hmm. Hmm. Sure.
in pretty good condition for 50 cents. And I just thought, well, they're 50 cents because I really don't have much of an interest in them. They're just kind of
Ancillary.
yeah, ancillary, exactly. but they had them all. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, like I said, I do look out for things that I don't have. More importantly, I bought not a Legion issue, but it's related to a Legion story. Like I said, I'm reading Legionnaires and I get to, or in Legion of Superheroes, and I get to this part where there's a cross there. It says part part two. Oh man, I don't remember what the name of the story was now. The part one was a Superboy issue.
yeah, yeah. It's like past tense or future
Yeah, yeah.
tense or something
Future. I
like
think it
that.
was future tense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my god. Now I have to. I had to go get that so I could read those Legion issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm like I was going through my app on the Legionnaires and Legion of Superheroes and looking at the covers, going, is there another thing like this? Do I have to buy another title that I don't another issue I don't have?
Yeah.
So
It's funny. I also cap at Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes issue 200. Not that I'd be against getting anything previous to that, but
it, but the I don't know the things that I found around that time, they're not in great condition,
yeah, yeah,
or too expensive for my
yeah,
taste.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I had the whole Archie reboot up to a certain point, and then I stopped. I had most of the. Do I still have the Wade Kitson? I have like some of it. I have some of the Supergirl and the Legion after it, and some of the Jim Shooter stuff. I think I'm like an issue two away from the DNA run. I have all the New 52 stuff and all that. So, but like if I had it and then sold it, I'm not so worried about getting them again, like the Archer reboot. Like, I don't know. The only one I think I sold and got back again was the Acronym Legion because I had all of it, sold it,
oh,
and then I did get all those back again.
see, I on that one, I haven't sought those out, even though there's a our Legion connection to
Yeah,
things.
you can usually find them like on eBay and in sizable chunks, if not all
Hmm.
of it. Yeah, they're not so rare and they shouldn't be expensive.
Hmm.
But one thing I do try to do um, is I do like picking up Legion issues prior to what I already have, prior to when I started reading Legion. So I have all, from Superboy 200, I think all the way up. Yeah. And then, yeah, I have all that, but it's really like the adventure comic, like we're just talking about, like those things. But I was at Golden Eagle. And when I'm at Golden Eagle, if an issue is like a little bit more than I want to spend, I'm okay with it because that's my store, right? Like I'm going to support them, so I don't care.
Yeah.
So like I found some missing issues of Karate Kid, like 9 issues of Karate
Oh,
Kid.
that's right. Yes, I have some of those. But I pared them down
Mhm.
some years ago to just include the ones where the Legion actually appears in it.
Right, right. Yeah, because there's 15, right? There's 15 issues, and I have most of them. I think I'm missing like a handful, and I got them for like $1.50, $2, 2.25 was the most I paid for one. And I was like, okay, because they're pretty good condition. They were pretty decent. Um, and there was enough of them that I felt like, that's cool. Like, I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get them
Yeah.
regardless of the price. Um, and then I got the other thing I try to do is same thing with Titans. Like if I'm at a convention, which I'm always like, give me 50-cent bins, give me dollar bins. I'm not trying to look for expensive issues, but I will try to buy at least one Teen Titans issue that I'm missing from
Mm.
volume one. And I will at least look at the Legion stuff, early Legion, to see if it's so outrageous, if it's like a really bad condition, but they're charging like $10. I'm like, no, 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 thank you. So I bought, let's see here. Yeah, Action Comics 371. I'll show you right there from Golden Eagle. It was,
That's Neil Adams cover.
I think so. I'd have to look.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. When Superboy walked out on the Legion, 371. It was priced at $6, but it was a sale going on, so I got it for $3. So I was like,
Oh, good.
great, fine. It's a pretty decent condition. I haven't opened it up. There's some some things here and there. Apparently, it's the first appearance of Chemical King, which
Oh, really?
is not going to make it any valuable or anything like that. But
Well, to
um,
us,
yeah.
perhaps.
But I always try to buy at least once. I try to buy one new Legion thing. It's not the earliest adventure I own is 330. That's the earliest I own. But I was like, sure, I'll buy that. So yeah, so every now and then I still like to buy. I still like to look. I'm
Yeah.
not my non-expertise part of the Legion lore is you can't give me an issue number, title, and a number. I won't know the significance.
Right.
Like the first time I picked up, I don't know, some random issue of Adventure Comics, and it was like, oh, this is the first appearance of so and so. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, wow, I have the first appearance of so and so. Universo or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I have first appearance of Universo, or first appearance of the Luck Lords, or first appearance of Shadowlast. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, now I have it. So, but yeah, I wondered what your buying habits were. So yeah, I just thought that'd be a fun, quick topic to bring up.
Well, and there's also I saw a post on Blue Sky recently. People post. I follow a person who posts cover images all the time, and one of the things I saw was someone had posted an issue from the Legion animated series tie-in comic,
Hmm.
which I don't have any of those, and I thought I should get those. I mean, I have the whole Justice. I don't know what they called it. The series that had the Justice League animated
I think it was Justice League Unlimited
characters.
or Adventures or something like that.
I think
Yeah,
that's right. Yes,
yeah,
Justice League Adventures. So I have those. I'm like, why don't I have the Legion one? So now I'm gonna start looking for those
yeah. I
as
have
well.
a handful of them. I think it's like Legion in the 31st Century or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I used to have that. I think I gave it to Maddie a long time ago. Dang it! I wish I hadn't done that now. But anyway, I'm probably gonna seek those out just because that's probably the last made. Well, if I don't count the Legion version, then that'd be the last set of comics I'll probably want to buy. Other than, like you mentioned, like the first appearance of Universo, but um, uh, what was it? What was the first appearance of Shadowlass?
That was issue 365, Adventure Comics 365.
Is that the one with Mordru?
That is 369 and 370.
Oh, okay, okay. So things like the Mordru one, I wouldn't mind. I actually have the first issue of that. I don't have the second. So things like that, where like I don't know, milestone issues, or at least things that oh, I like. Oh, for example, like I would love to have in good condition those issues featuring the Fatal Five, the
Yeah,
first appearance of those
yeah,
characters. So things like that, I wouldn't mind if I can find them. I wouldn't mind getting those too, even though I have them reprinted in a few different collections I already have.
yeah. I mean, I did get Adventures 373 for $10, the first appearance of Tornado Twins, but I
Ooh.
freaking love the Tornado Twins, and it was a really good condition, and I was like, yeah, and that was from a comic store when I used to live in South Philly. Like they were my guys, so I was like, yeah, of course I'm gonna buy that. The other thing I bought just recently, and it was because of our last episode when we were talking about the Supergirl saga, and you brought up time and time again that storyline
Yeah.
from Superman, and I have the two Legion title because there's like 7 parts to it. But I was like, you know what? I've actually never read all of it. So I was at Golden Eagle. They were like $1, maybe $1.99 each. And I think I need 2 more issues, but I found a bunch there as well. So I got that.
Good.
So I'll stick that in my Legion collection.
That's a fun story.
Yeah, it looked great.
I quite
Yeah,
enjoyed it. Yeah.
yeah. And it just came out, I think, yeah, this week as we're recording. It came out yesterday on February 18th. Comic Book Creator 42 is a spotlight on Pat Broderick from Tomorrow's Publishing.
Oh, I missed that.
I looked on their website at the table of contents and some of the interior. They have like a preview. It doesn't seem like it touches a lot on Legion at all.
Hmm.
Um, but I have to imagine at some point there's got to be something in there, And I like Pat Broderick,
Yeah.
right? Firestorm and Captain Atom and Lords of the Ultra Realm, like I okay, So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that one. So that's Comic Book Creator 42. That's coming in my next DCBS shipment. So, so
Do you also look, do you get issues where the Legion have made an appearance in somebody else's title
I probably have most of them.
already? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, especially pre Zero Hour.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I have a lot of those too. DC
Yeah.
Comics Presents or
I mean, we
Regular
read one of
Bold or
them
whatever. Yeah.
and it was terrible. Or not terrible, it was like, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a completist in that direction for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a quick topic? Anything that's like any sort of short topic before we get to any longer versions?
Um, there was there was one other thing, Peter, that I was hoping to be able to share with you here today
Okay.
that I bought that's Legion related, and it was because you sent me that link to Michel Fife's YouTube channel for his spotlight on Keith Giffen,
Right.
of which I've only watched the first installment. But while he was going through a bajillion different comics and magazines,
Yeah.
which, by the way, he at the end, I don't know if you noticed this, at the end he put each issue or magazine that he showed in the video, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
Because I was really trying to figure out what issue of back issue that he showed or Amazing Heroes or whatever. Anyway, because of that, I think he showed, pretty sure, the best of the Legion Outpost from Tomorrow's.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't have that. And so I went to Tomorrow's website. They don't have it available, print or digital. And I know it was there digitally before because I've looked at it before. And I thought about buying it some years ago and I never got around to it. And now I want it. So I went to eBay and found a copy for not too much.
Okay.
Yeah. I sent it to my old address by accident.
Oh no.
So I have a neighbor who actually texted me as we were talking earlier and said, "I have your book."
Oh, good.
So he's going to bring it out when they come visit soon. But it's like, oh damn, I really wanted to hold that up and show you that I'd gotten this. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I can't believe because I updated my address in all these other places, but eBay I forgot, and I was just clicking buy. Here's my payment, blah blah blah, and then boom, I get this notification that it's delivered. I'm like, where the hell is it?
Mm.
And then I looked and like, oh crap. Anyway, so there's that. Not Legion related, but because of that video, I went and bought Wonder Woman number 300
Oh,
because
okay.
well, I guess I mean it is Legion related because it's Keith Giffen, right? Because
Yeah.
he has that one splash page in it, and so I like milestone issues, and so I decided to
It's a good
go ahead and
issue.
get that, and yeah, it was a fun issue, and I don't have a whole lot of pre-crisis Wonder Woman issues, and
Hmm.
I know you're a big fan of the character, so
Yep.
yeah, that was fun. So yeah, there's that, and just generally about the Fife files, just seeing all this stuff from the beginning of Giffen's career up through I forget where he ended on at that point. Oh, with the Legion poster. I
Yeah.
think he mentioned
Yeah.
it at least towards the end of that basically killed Giffen for a while. So
Yeah. He goes a little too in that first video anyway. He goes a little fast, like I think,
yeah, he does.
and I actually want him to get even more into the art and from
Yes.
his point of view, because Fife loves the 80s, right? He loves the Suicide Squad. He loves all. I mean, like he would be an amazing person to talk to, and I'm surprised I haven't yet. And the second part, that's where you get into the Legion Burnout, Ambush Bug. Let's see the his Giffen style changing. The third part is stuff with Marvel, Justice League, coming back to the Legion, which is what we're reading right now, Invasion, and then the fourth one is 5 years later, Heckler, moving away from mainstream. But it's like, yeah, I want to. He's whatever he talks about in the 5 years later, he's not going to talk enough about it. You know, it's like keep going. Like,
Yeah, get into it and use those the terminology and the knowledge and talk about the art. Really get into it, like you said, from his perspective. I'd love to hear that.
yeah,
And he's probably thinking nobody wants to hear me talk about that kind of stuff. They just want to see the pretty pictures and
no,
whatnot. But
I
no,
want all of it.
give it to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. We'll get there. One other little quick thing, and then we'll take a break and come back with maybe a few bigger topics again. Um, I always like listening to our older episodes for topics, ideas, questions that kind of like what we did in episode 50, right? Where I had some questions. We'll do that again later. Or if like we have a regular Legion episode where we don't have much else to talk about, maybe I'll bring it back again, like a question or something. But this is not a question, it's just something really quick. So I was listening to episode 18 of the Legion Project, where we reviewed Legion of Superheroes Millennium Issue 1. The two-parter
Oh,
by Bendis.
you said Millennium, and I flashed back to the
No.
miniseries.
Legion of Superheroes Millennium.
Yes. Sorry.
Bendis, the revelation that Rosenthorn was, you know, please, Joshua Williamson, don't even go there with that. But anyway, in the Batman Beyond section where she's talking about cycles and rebirths and reboots and all this, and we talk about it in the episode, she mentions, I forget what the first like two words are, something like birth and death of the universe or whatever, but then she says gods and monsters. And I was like,
Oh my God.
gods and monsters, like what James Gunn is calling his DC Universe title chapter or whatever. Gods and wow, okay. I'm sure it's a complete coincidence, but still It was like, oh, gods and monsters. Okay. That's cool. Because that came out in 2019, that issue, and the whole gods and, the James Gunn thing happened well after that, the announcement, So I just thought that was cool, I always like when things get reconceptualized, when you go back to read them with future knowledge,
Yep.
Like, okay, all right. All right, should we take a little break?
Okay.
Sounds good. We'll be back.
Do you love podcasting but hate editing? Do you have a number of episodes recorded but just can't find the time to get them edited and ready for release? Do you need help and you're not sure what to do? Well, come talk to me. My name is Stephen Orr. I have over a decade of experience recording and editing my own podcasts, and I want to put those skills to work for you. I can remove that background noise. I can reduce silences. I'll remove all of your ums and your uhs, as well as your throat clearings, sneezes, and coughs and such. And I can even add your music and whatnot. And hey, my prices are quite reasonable. Check out edityourpod.com to get started. That's edityourpod.com, or just reach out to me directly. Email edityourpod@gmail.com. Tell me what you need, and I'll tell you how I can help. And more importantly, I'll quote you a cost. edityourpod.com. Get started today.
So Eric, we're back from our tiny break. I sent you a link. Did you dare to open it?
I did.
Breaking news out of Comics Pro, which is going on this week. Did you scroll all the way down?
Oh, wait, did I? I
No,
saw
you did not.
Oh,
what did you
shoot,
see? What did you see?
The only thing I got to was the Teen Titans thing.
No, all the way down. All the
Okay.
way down, Eric.
All right, hold on.
This is part of their DC Next Level, which they just kicked off with Batwoman and Lobo and Deathstroke. And we know that there are some other titles coming. And they just teased summer of 2026. What do you see?
Legion of Superheroes
Legion of Superheroes,
2026. Woo!
as long with Doom Patrol, Jonah Hex, Demon,
Oh, Doom
and Batman
Patrol.
Shadow the Bat. And I think we knew Demon and Shadow and Joe. I think we knew they were coming. But Legion of see what title logo they're using?
Yes, they're using that classic one. Well, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. What classic means, but that kind of that block lettering, Legion on top, superheroes on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, the one before the Baxter run.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, to be fair, they've been using older title logos, but not using them for the actual.
Well, in all of these logos, Doom Patrol, Jonah Hex, Demon, I mean, those are all the classics, if you will,
Mhm.
logos. Whether or not those are actually going to be used is a question, but yeah. Yeah.
They did the same thing with Firestorm and
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, we Legion fans are going to look at that and go, oh, they're using the classic logo. So what does that suggest, right?
right.
Oh, man. Well, that was fun. Like I said, I got to the point of the Teen Titans. I'm like, ugh.
Oh, no, all the way down. Breaking news.
That is awesome. Yeah, I like to read Heidi McDonald's coverage of Comics Pro whenever she goes, and I just hadn't seen that yet. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm not at all interested in this Teen Titans thing, especially if it's Jason Todd running it.
All right. So you want to talk about in this next part?
So one of the things, sort of Legion related is Superboy in Action Comics, which, I mean, just that alone was a huge surprise to me that they're bringing back Superboy. And not only bringing back Superboy in Superman's history, but the fact that he is the star of Action Comics right now. Written by Mark Waid with art by Skylar. I always don't say Partridge. It's Pat. Oh, I'm forgetting now, but it's not Partridge. I know that.
Patridge.
Patridge? Yeah. They don't like that when people say it wrong. So, but I was curious what you thought. One, Superboy's back. And two, kind of because I've really been enjoying the portrayal of Superboy in this, a modern take on Superboy. It's not like he's living in 1950s Smallville anymore. They've got cell phones, and they decided to update the setting, and more importantly, what kind of things that Clark is learning as Superboy that makes a whole lot more sense to me that he learned them younger than just he just did them correctly as he became Superman, which is kind of how it was presented in the Byrne Superman. And so he's learning these lessons and making mistakes, but you could already see within, let's see, I've read 1087 through 1094.
Okay.
Not quite 10 issues, or yeah, 10 issues. But you're already seeing this formulation of Clark as he's becoming more guarded, which means you got to protect the secret identity. How do you mix superheroics with the military, for example, in the latest issues, and solving various things? And to get to the point where it's like, that's why Superman doesn't involve himself in wars between countries unless people are going to die. Then things, he'll step in there, but he doesn't actively participate in the world in that sense. And you're seeing that here play out. But more importantly, they did make mention of the Legion, and so I have two questions for you about this. Have you been reading this? I forget.
So, I wasn't reading it, and then one of the solicitations said that Captain Comet was going to make an appearance, and I love Captain Comet. So then I was like, well, I picked up those issues. For this episode, I read the first four. I've read the first four so far, but I don't care about spoilers and things, but because it is
Well,
it is an interesting thing about like, this whole restoration of the whole Superboy part of his origin.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So my two questions were, one, what did you think of Captain Comet in this? Because it's a different take on the character, but could still fit in continuity if you care about that kind of stuff with him. So yeah,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts
Yeah,
on
I
that?
mean, it kind of makes sense. He's a man, he's a mutant that was born like what, like I forget what they said, 10,000 years before his time or something like that. So
Hmm.
for him to have a kind of like standoffish, almost alien uh personality, like he's everything you think Superman would be, like cold, detached,
Hmm.
um, at least in the issues I've read so far. Um, Plus, you put into context the distance between the Golden Age heroes, the Golden Age heroes of like the Justice Society, and when they disbanded. That is a fixed moment in time. It has to take place World War II, and then it has to during the Red Scare. That's when they disappear. That's just a fixed moment in time. You can fill in the gaps with other heroes, which they're doing in the new history of the DC universe. But now the emergence of this new age of heroes with Superman sort of leading the way, or Superboy, um, is so much, there's so much gap, right? So now you have this Adam Blake, Captain Comic character, who in that amazing James Robinson, Paul Smith miniseries, Golden Age, is like, they treated him as like the beginning of the Silver Age, right? Um, if he was active, he's had even more time to be inactive. And so like his portrayal of what I've read, like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that as someone who's like detached. He was also part of the Legion acronym series for
Mm, that's
that
right.
whole run, which they originally wanted to use Adam Strange, but they couldn't, so they used Captain Comet instead. Um, yeah, it's a nice bridge. It's like Mark Waid, he knows his DC continuity, and it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing about it that I really like too. It's like, yeah, other heroes mentoring newer heroes.
Yeah.
Oh, I should say older heroes mentoring younger heroes. With Superboy being no different, right? But it's not like the JSA a JSA member is mentoring him, which I don't think I would like all that much actually. So, not that he couldn't do it later or whatever, but I really like that gap, or not gap, that connection, the next jumping or what am I trying to say here? The next uh,
Passing of
point
the
in
torch or
time,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, between Golden Age, beginning of Silver Age with Captain Comet, and then later with Superboy doing that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But my other question about this um, is, will this be somehow a lead-in to the new Legion book? Are they going to incorporate Superboy as a member, as they've done in originally? I heard somebody, or not heard, I read somebody online saying something about it makes more sense that it might be Supergirl this time instead. But they've already done Supergirl on the Legion with the Wade Kitson run. Anyway, just like, how much is Superboy going to be part of the Legion going forward? We already know he is, because we've seen that in the Superman issues, or at least whatever time flux
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
that Superman's experiencing. He was part of the Legion, or he's had experience with the Legion in some way. But it just, like, with DCKO ending and the whole Omega Legion thing and Time Trapper, and now Superboy being back in as a major historical point for Superman. It's like, do if Superboy is going to be part of the Legion, they have to be moving towards that with this story, right?
Right.
And that wouldn't make any sense if they didn't.
Right. It always goes back to what is the easiest explanation for a character or a team or whatever. it always worked that the Legion were inspired by Superboy. Any other version of that is just either a reflection of that or just way too convoluted, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, because I was trying to wrap into my brain, when did they actually bring back Superboy, Superman as Superboy? Because even in the Jeff Johns, Gary Frank Superman Secret Origin story in the late 2000s, he was Superboy, but I think he only wore the costume when he was with the Legion, right? Like he
Mhm.
wasn't Superboy in our present. Then of course New 52 happened. And then even at the end of Doomsday Clock, not to bring that up, but that's when the Legion came back, right? That's when both the Justice Society and the Legion, quote unquote, came back. No more of that, you know, whatever New 52 version, you know, and it was Bendis's Legion aside the Justice Society and the Infinity Inc. characters, right? Dr. Manhattan is doing his little Superman thing, and he says, you know, like there's a restoration of there was a time when he wasn't Superboy and there was a time when he was. So like all of his Superboy stuff came back. But even when Mark Waid took over Action Comics prior to this, just like a year prior or 12, no, it was weekly. Remember, it was weekly. That's right. Before he started writing the Superboy story, Action Comics was weekly. And Mark Waid was writing it and it involved the Phantom Zone and Mon-El and all that. I forget what issue. It was like, just like I said, 10 issues prior to this. Because I was flipping through that and I was reading some of that. The whole Mon-El stuff is there, right? Mon-El crash lands. He has some Kryptonian knowledge. He names him Mon-El because he arrived on a Monday. All that is there. And then he says, it was really great to have a brother, someone I could explore my powers with. My parents even let me use the costume when I was with him, right? So, okay, that still kind of suggests he wasn't quite Superboy.
Right.
Then there's like the Summer of Superman special. In the Superman issues we talked about, you know, with the Dan Mora artwork, we see him as Superboy in the 31st century with the Legion as we knew them, the Trinity as we knew them, not Bendis's version or anybody like that. So it feels like that's what they want to do.
Yes.
In the new history of the DC Universe, they had an image of the time bubble with silhouetted characters. Like, it's the easiest answer. The easiest answer is that the Legion of Superheroes is inspired by Superboy. Because he is a teenager like they are, right? Like Mark Waid's Superboy is 15, where I guess apparently in pre-crisis history, he debuted when he was like 8, 9, 10, some really young age. He was starting to wear the costume.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that just seems, yeah, that's the way it's always been. That's the way it worked. Nobody questioned it. The only reason why we questioned it is because they had to change it, and then they kept changing and that's boring. Put it back to the way it was. It's simple.
Isn't it funny how after 40 years, they're just restoring everything pre-crisis?
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah.
Everything old is new again.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you said he is a different Superboy. He has a slightly different costume. But I guess a lot of it, too, is because when you have Superman's son, when he was really a Superboy, not now, to have because you could have had the Legion inspired by him, but he's still kind of overshadowed by his dad, right? Like, to some degree.
Yeah.
So now that he's aged up, you can go back to younger stories with Clark. And as we've said multiple times, and I know he's a favorite of your character, I think he's one of your favorite characters. Superboy, as he existed pre-crisis, was his own character.
Yeah.
He was a successful title on his own. He was a successful franchise on his own. He was sold as a TV as an IP on his own. That was the whole basis of the lawsuit, right? So, you're not using John Kent as Superboy, and who knows what's going on with the clone Superboy, you know? So, okay, give me Superboy, sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like you said, I'm a huge fan of Superboy, and having him back now in continuity, so to speak, is just wonderful. Although I really don't like the high top shoes version of his costume. But maybe that's when he graduates into being a superhero in the
Right.
world, is he actually gets boots. But anyway, but yeah, that's just I can't wait to see how Superboy in action, DC what comes after DCKO, and this new Legion title that's coming this summer is going to be. So wait, so this is February. When do they solicit? So April is when they solicit for June books.
I would hope by March we start to see some things.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
really
yeah.
soon. Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a good series. It's surprisingly not as Mark Waid-ish as I would want it to be. You know what I mean? I think he's giving a little bit more investment in Justice League Unlimited, in World's Finest. I think he feels very Mark Waid in those books. And in this one, it's I don't know. It's, I guess, because he doesn't have the DC universe to spin around other than Captain Comet.
yeah, it's very isolated.
Yeah,
in a sense, right?
yeah. But it's still good. It's fine. Yeah. I think the whole Summer of Superman stuff has been really, really great. And I like the Superman title. I like Justice League. I like where DC is going. And it's interesting to see where the whole thing with Lana was great. Like I thought that was fun. I guess that's why making him a teen, not a kid, is great, because you can tell those kind of stories too.
Yeah.
His parents, it feels almost Smallville-ish. Almost, there's like a tinge of
a little bit.
Smallville. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's good. You probably enjoy it more than it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just I want to know the here and now. Like, give me the here and now, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you brought Superboy back? Great. Now give me what's next. I'm in that sort of mode. But with Captain Comet in it though, I'm absolutely gonna read it. Yeah.
It makes me think though, now that we know that the Legion title's coming in just a few short months, really. Where's the story for Superboy going to go? It has to, unless they do some sort of time jump thing, like a year later or whatever. There's a lot of growth and development maybe that he should have before we get to the whole Legion, or maybe not. I don't know. I'm just curious where the story is going to go now that we know that the Legion's going to be back very soon.
And I am actually excited for that whole Superboy of tomorrow, whatever that next storyline is coming up, where there's like it's going to be a team up of Superboys, and Dan Slott's involved with the Superman Unlimited, right?
Oh, okay.
Superboy Prime is taking over the Superman book. Like, I'm excited for that stuff.
Boy, talk about a character like Jason Todd. I can't stand Superboy Prime. I hate that character so much.
I mean, I guess too, the way Mark Waid could be Mark Waid is if as he gets a little further into young Superboy, I don't want him to do it too much, but because then I might as well just go read those 1950s issues where he meets like a young Bruce Wayne or a young Aquaman, or you know what I mean? Like some of that stuff, I could see them going, "Ooh, we could do this and this," and it's like, don't do too much of that.
Well, they don't, like I said, they don't have much runway now, so they can't do a whole lot of that kind of stuff. I would hope.
I would rather him team up like with Captain Comet and do some more of like, oh, if you're going to learn about magic, it's because he teams up with Zatara
Yes.
and holdovers, people who are still around, or new characters that fill the gap. This whole Justice Alliance that was,
Yeah.
or there's a Justice Society Dark or something like that in the new history of the DC universe, like that. Like, fill in the gap that way, you know.
Mhm.
He could meet Ted Grant. He could meet, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. That would be cool. But not nobody after him. I don't want him to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing they could explore is his relationship with Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
I
Isn't that coming? I thought I saw something in one of the solicitations
Could
about
be.
him meeting Luthor.
Could be.
Or maybe I'm just thinking of Smallville.
All right. You want me to go on to my next thing? This is
Yeah.
my final thing. Real quick, speaking of Mark Waid, in our episode 50, which you should listen to if you haven't already, celebrating the Legion Project, celebrating issue 50 of the Legion of Superheroes 4-hour extravaganza. And probably was recorded almost a year ago. At least the first part was recorded almost a year ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Where we talked about, Mark Waid talking about the Legion of Superheroes, and in one of the interviews he mentioned, there's like 2 issues of Adventure Comics, a blueprint for everything I write. So I was like, wow, that's heavy, that's big, that's foundational, right? Okay. So I read Adventure Comics 369 and 370. It's the 2-part first appearance of Mordru. And I think we might have referenced 369 in one of our episodes a while back. But I don't remember. As I was reading, I was like, I don't think I ever read these issues. So I read them. It's Jim Shooter is your writer. Jim Shooter is also did like the layouts or the artwork, but Kurt Swan went on top of him. Jack Abel. It's during the Mark Weisinger era. It's funny, Mark Waid says these issues are a blueprint. It's like, oh, well, then you owe your career to Jim Shooter?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. It's a Mordru story. It's Shadowlass, because she's new to the Legion of Superheroes, is walking around and sees a vault and opens it and says, let me open this strange big vault. And Mordru escapes. He was imprisoned. He escapes. Superboy, Mon-El, Shadowlass, and Duo Damsel decide to go back in time to escape him, to get out of his way because he's all so powerful. They wound up in Smallville. They say, oh, we have to hide ourselves and we have to erase our memory or else he's going to know where we are. And they put themselves under hypnosis. They have secret identities. There's like 8 stories going on in one issue. There's a whole thing where mobsters start taking over Smallville, so they have to find a way to fight
out of the blue.
Out of the blue. And then Lana gets involved and Pete Ross gets involved because they are both. Pete's honorary Legionnaire, and Lana, as Insect Queen, is a Legion reservist, or I think it's called something at that point. Smallville gets lifted off the Earth. It gets, in the second part, I think they just completely off the Earth, and then Mordru has these armies that come, and they finally say, oh, we got to fight him, and they find a way. Oh, they get put on trial, right? There's a whole thing where they get put on trial. Jesus mighty. And then eventually they win the day, and it's a little confusing because so they're in Smallville. Mordru comes to Smallville. And then when he puts him on trial, he says, I'm going to put you on trial with other 30th century beings. So my question was, did he bring them to Smallville? Did he bring Legion to the future? And then they went back to Smallville to fix whatever happened, but then went back because my question is, when they bury him again, where is he being buried? In Smallville of the 20th century? Or in the future where he took them where the trial was? That's it doesn't really, it's not clear.
Yeah.
My assumption is 30th century, but if they stuck him in Smallville, I'm like, what the heck? He's in. That's wild. And I tried to look at like his next appearances, and they don't explain it. You know, whatever. Jim
Oh
Shooter,
no, yeah.
he was what, like maybe 6 at this time? I don't know. So it's, and I'm trying to look at it through the lens of like Mark Waid as a writer, and like
Right?
I like the fact that it starts like a new character right away. He's ultra powerful. He's already been defeated, but you don't know that story. They do actually tell you the story. I still want a fuller version of it, but it in many ways kind of felt like what he did with Neza during the Lazarus Planet event,
Okay.
where
Yeah.
this being came out of nowhere but had ties to like DC history and is all powerful. I mean, Neron is the same way, and to some degree so are Doomsday and Bane, where these ultra powerful characters come out of nowhere. Um, okay, so that's good. The Legionnaires on the run, that's cool, right? It's not that they're afraid of him, but he's really powerful. And this Mordru's pretty cool. Like he's got armies, and I've never read Earth War, so like this version of Mordru where he's like a conqueror is interesting. Is interesting. But then the whole Smallville stuff and the let's paint Shadowlass, you know, just put makeup on, and then one of the kids is like, she's got blue skin, and Superboy's like, let me squirt him with my fountain pen. Oh, now you got blue skin too. It's like, oh my God. I don't know which part of this Mark Waid is like, this is a blueprint for everything I write. And then Mordru defeats himself at the end, you know, basically,
Yeah.
because his power is so big and the cave collapses. And, you know, it's like, huh? Okay. So I'm not sure. I'd have to hear Mark Waid talk about why he was 12 when he read it, probably, you know, and probably.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. How much should we take him at his word that this is a blueprint for everything he writes? Well, the thing I was because I read this story actually in it was reprinted in a limited collector's edition Treasury, and that was my first experience with that story. But it was also just like the Fatal Five version that I read in a DC Digest. You know, those were two reprinted Legion stories that really cemented my love for the team in these stories. So I'm looking at it going, okay, if you think about, since you mentioned Neza in which title?
Lazarus Planet.
Yeah. Well, he also appeared in.
Oh, he showed up in World's Finest.
Yes, World's Finest,
Mhm.
right? So, looking, you could look at his more recent DC work, because he works with a few characters, so there's a small team of Legionnaires in this one, right? And they're working together to defeat the villain. Supporting cast is a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Like
Yeah.
in this adventure comic story, you got Superboy as supporting cast. Mark Waid uses supporting cast in World's Finest and just about everything else, probably because he just likes to throw in how much he knows about the DC universe.
Yeah.
But there's that. And I was trying to think, you mentioned the villain defeating himself, and that's actually, I wrote that in my notes, and with a big question mark though. It's like I was trying to remember how did Neza work out? He didn't defeat himself, did he? I'm just curious, how much should we be taking him at his word? Or is it, or like you said, it's just like, this was one of the stories that he read when he was a kid and he thinks it's really cool for whatever reason.
So apparently it came out when he was 6. Now, I don't know if he read it when he was 6, because Mark Waid was born in 1962. But it had enough of an impact somewhere along the way. Yeah. I mean, again, Mordru is fully realized in these 2 chapters, which is great. Like, you get who he is. He's sorcerer. Xerox is there. The sorcerer's world, if you don't necessarily, if they don't explain the whole him being entombed, freaks him out, you can see the precedents at least, Superboy is vulnerable to magic, that's all there. Like he's also drawn huge. He's not drawn the same size as the Legionnaires. I mean, he's an imposing villain,
Hmm.
So that part of it is, I think, really great.
And you could see that too in other works, right? Because like Neza was he wasn't a weak villain. He was, I mean, when I first saw that, I was thinking, why don't they just use Neron? Because that's the established character. But I guess he had to use a different demon, so to speak, because he needed the character to fulfill a certain goal.
Yeah.
Or provide, not necessarily a goal, but provide enough of a threat, to thwart, Superman and a lot of the Justice League.
Yeah.
So that makes sense as a blueprint, I guess, if you look at it that way. What I didn't really delve into was, looking at the story as, in terms of structure. Is that some sort of?
Well, that's where it got me, because it's like it jumps from sequence to sequence to like I said, these mobsters have nothing to do with any of it other than that they can't fight them because they're meant to be hidden, right? And in fact, what is it? Superboy is gone for like 7 days or a week or whatever. Like all these things are happening because he's in hiding, and it's very bizarre. And then that ending, they go back to the 30th century and they're like, oh yeah, we just defeated him like this. And Mon-El's like, haha, wow, you 3 girls did what we couldn't do. I'm like, oh my God. Yikes.
What if it's a blueprint for what not to do in comic books? That's what he meant.
Yeah. So to go back to like the beginning of this conversation where I said I don't necessarily always know why issues are important. For Mordru, I can see this being really important, obviously. I don't know if the Legion necessarily come off well in this, not like there's certainly other issues that we've read that like the issue is important. A new character is important. There's something that happens. They get a new headquarters. You know what I mean? Like there's that one issue where like 8 things happen that are huge. This is an important issue, but I don't know if it's like top 10. It may not even be top 20 important issue, So maybe, I don't know. But I wanted to read it.
Yeah.
All right. You have a podcast thing, yes?
Yes. So our Legion compatriots, the Long Live the Legion podcast, they have been just like cooking with gas because they've had some great interviews with people who worked on Legion, who work at DC Comics currently, or just talking about a particular Legion run, right? So. I forget the episode numbers or when these were released, but they spoke to Jeff Moy, who was the artist on the Archie Legion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so in fact, I wasn't even familiar with his work until I was doing that read of the Legion books recently, and I just talking about. Getting into or having Michel Fiffe talk about Keith Giffen, right? Having Jeff Moy talk about his time on the Legion books that he was drawing it was really fun to listen to, and you could tell that he really, really loved doing the having that job.
Yeah,
and now that I'm into where he's doing the work, I like it. I like what he did with them. So, that was really cool. The next one that they did was an interview with DC Metropolis group editor Paul Kaminsky. And the reason I think they did this is because it will be under Kaminsky's aegis. The new Legion book will be under him. So, really, that episode, I think, besides talking about what an editor at DC Comics does, it was really more the way it came across to me from Kaminsky was that he was really doing his best to promote Joshua Williamson and how much of a fan of the Legion he is. And so by doing that or talking about that, he's like, this is just illustrating, it's going to be good. I don't know, but Kaminsky's doing his job, right? So, but it was still fun. And then finally I'm like, oh my, how are they getting these interviews? Because they talked about Paul Levitt's return to the Legion, what I think many of us would think of as the start of the golden age, if you will, of the Legion, but with Alex Segura. And boy, I don't know if you've listened to that episode, Peter, but just as a comparison to what we've talked about regarding Paul Levitz's work on Volume 3, this was very fascinating to hear, especially Alex talk about things regarding why they did what they did and what they really appreciated about that work that Paul Levitz and his artists were doing.
Yeah. I mean, Alex was part of DC's,
right.
In the early podcasting days, he was our contact into DC Comics.
Oh, okay.
Before he was a writer. Now he's like in the whole writing aspect of, he's been for a number of years, but he was not, we didn't always have to go through him, because back in those days you just email people and they're, yeah, sure, we'll be on your podcast. But every now and then he would send us, say, hey, would you want to talk to this person or that person? So yeah. So he would have been there. When did Paul Levitz retire? Oh, geez. Yeah, he retired in 2020. Retired from DC in 2020. So, so he would have been there. Alex Segura would have been there during that time. So, it's funny, the whole Joshua Williamson thing, because this is a total tangent. I read Iron Man 1, his new Iron Man 1. I didn't like it.
Oh, no.
I didn't like it.
Now, wait, he was on Flash for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
Did you read any of that?
No.
Okay, I haven't either.
Yeah. I was excited for his jumping onto Iron Man, just to, like, okay, cool. Like, this feels like Marvel needs to get a foothold on what DC is doing, I was like, oh, it felt very by the numbers, and that's not what I wanted. His Superman stuff, like right out of the gate, I was like, this is great, like his Energon Universe stuff, great, like right out of the gate.
Okay.
So I was like, I went in high expectations on the Iron Man, and I was like, oh no, because now it's like, now I'm worried about Legion, right? Like,
right, exactly, yeah. But if he's doing, good work from your perspective in those other areas, so
yeah, well, yeah, he seems maybe DC is better for him, a better fit,
perhaps.
Yeah. So.
And you mentioned this before, but I was looking ahead. Is there? Well, we just got this today, right? The Legion's coming in the summer, but before I knew that, I was looking ahead and looked at the April solicits, and there's nothing related to anything, Mega Legion or otherwise. So but now we know we're going to get something soon.
Yeah, that's good.
More news soon.
Okay.
Oh, so Peter, I mentioned this during the break, but I have a surprise for you. I have something to throw your way.
All right.
So I actually I've been wanting to do something like this I almost mentioned it to you before about adding this as a segment or something, but I'm just going to throw this out here right now. Um, do you remember the Answer Man
Oh yeah, Bob
column?
Rozakis. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Daily Planet little uh, blurb that they had at the back of
Yeah.
most DC Comics in the late 70s and early 80s.
Hmm.
So Bob the Answer Man Rozakis collected a bunch of his trivia quizzes from the AOL days when DC
Oh,
would go into AOL and he would do these trivia things. They're not actually from the Answer Man columns, but he collected all these, and I went through this book like 2 years ago through I don't know. There's 144 pages of this. Not all of it's trivia. A bunch of the back is all the answers, right?
right.
But I went through this entire book and marked all of the Legion related trivia.
I used to jump in on some of those AOL conversations for
Oh,
DC.
really?
Yeah, like I don't know if it was one of these, but like John Byrne, it was almost like a early version of what are they called? AMAs, like or Ask Me Anything. Yeah, Ask Me
Oh,
Anything, like
yeah,
on Reddit or whatever, where it would just be a chat room and you just throw out a question, and if he sees it, you would answer it. Back when the internet was like you just go to sites, right? Like just
right.
yeah. I used to, in fact, that's why I signed on to AOL, because DC Comics threw out we're sending for free all
The
the little
disc?
startup discs. Yeah.
Yes, that same thing. I did the same thing. Yeah,
So,
yeah. But anyway, I chose five trivia questions that I'm gonna throw your way.
okay.
That I mean, some of them are really stupid. It was like, I don't remember. They're basically, you would know these things, of course. You are the Peter Rios. So
I'm going to do poorly now. Watch.
no, you're not. No, you're not. And in fact, I didn't know some of these either. So here's one, and listeners, try to answer along and let us know how well you did on this, and maybe we'll bring it back. I don't know. In one version of history, who was the seventh superhero? And they have this in quotes for some reason, to join the Legion.
Oh. Is this like the official thing or
I mean, you got to remember this was done in
1990?
1995 is when he started doing these.
The seventh?
Up through 1998, it looks like.
Right. So I'm gonna go with like it's probably like Superboy or Supergirl. I'll say Superboy.
You're close in the sense that the character's name starts with an S.
Oh. Sunboy?
Ding, ding, ding! Wow,
Okay.
I'm impressed. I would not have known that.
I mean, I get that's a total guess.
There's an extremely good guess. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Once the time trapper dropped this, the Legionnaires were stuck. What is it?
The Iron Curtain of Time.
Oh, duh. Hold on. I'm verifying. I'm verifying the answer, but of course that's got to be it. This is quiz 23. Yep, it is. Boy, now I feel really stupid. I should have known that. Okay. I'm sure you'll get this one. A disguised Mon-El joined the Legion using what anagrammatical name?
Lemon. What? Mon-El? Oh, is that the I have no idea. Elman or something? Elmno. Elmno? Elmno? El right? No.
No, keep going. I'm loving the thinking process here.
Unless I'm assuming it's off of Mon-El, not Largan. I thought there was a character called like Elmno or M like Remember there was like a secondary being inside of him during the 5 years later? I thought it began with an E, but
Isn't that Eltogand?
oh, is that what that is? I'm totally confused.
Think.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
something like that. But yeah.
Okay.
No, you actually were right. Your first guess. It's Legionnaire Lemon is what he was referred to. But Lemon is the anagram.
Okay. Again, just a guess. No real knowledge.
Okay, this one requires it's a little bit more. Involves Legion characters, but there's a theme to this.
Okay.
Figure out the meanings for each of these clues, or this clue, I should say. Then put them together for a poker hand.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so here is your clues. Your
Okay.
clue. Mano's gang, Coral Docks, and Dumb Bunny's pals.
Which is Inferior 5, Coral Duck, Brainiac 5, Manos Gang 5. So it must be 5 of a kind.
3 of a kind.
3 of a kind. Oh,
Three
because
fives.
there's only 3. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you're on the right track there. Yeah.
Okay. Right. What's Manos Gang? Oh, is it because 5 fingers?
Fatal 5.
Fatal. Oh, Jesus. I was thinking Mano had like a henchman or something.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That
yeah.
makes sense. Okay. Good.
Mhm.
See, again, another guess. No real.
All right. Final one I've got here, and that's as far as I went. But I'm pretty sure those are the more interesting ones. The rest of them are like examples of where did Brainiac 5 come from, the type of thing. So
yeah.
I'm not going to do those. Okay. So, okay. Oh, this is one of those. You have to take 2 names here, and well, I should probably just read it. The 2 characters share a middle name,
Mm.
and then you put that together. So
Okay.
So here's the clue. Reap Daggle transforms into Rip Carter's sidekicks.
Rip Carter? Sidekicks? Who's Rip Carter?
That's what threw me too.
I was thinking Cam is the middle, or Reap Daggle is Chameleon Boy,
Mm-hmm.
but they call him Cam. But Rip Carter, is that like a newspaper strip character? Am I overthinking that? Like
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, yeah.
Rip Carter? What?
Think. What kind of clue can I give you without?
I don't know why I was thinking like
too obvious.
Challengers of the Unknown for some reason.
You're kind of on the right track there. Not necessarily challengers, but something similar.
What? I can't think.
No.
No.
So, Chameleon Boy Commandos.
Boy Commandos.
Yeah.
Oh, Rip Carter was he the guy who there was
I
an
didn't.
adult?
I didn't think so, but maybe. I thought Rip Carter was a. I'm totally
led by the adult Captain Rip Carter.
okay. I must be. Was Rip Carter the original Guardian?
You're thinking of the Newsboy Legion.
I am. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Chameleon Boy Commandos. Right.
Yes.
So, okay, I see. I see. The game now. Okay. All right.
I would never have guessed that. So
Those are
sorry
good.
for putting you on the spot.
No, those are fun. That's fun. That's a perfect episode for that kind of thing. All right, well, we did it. There you go. The very first Reader's Roundup type loose discussion,
Mhm.
just to clear off some things on our plate, which is great. Obviously, like we said before, we can't do this. We couldn't do it like in another 3 episodes because we probably would run out of, well, I'm sure we could come up with some topics. But
No, we should wait a while for this again. And I want the listeners to let us know what they thought of this, and if they have any, I don't know, topic ideas for us to ponder for the future. So, especially since I think you saw this. Yesterday I posted on various social media platforms, hey, do you have any questions or comments about stuff, and no one got back to me. So
Yeah, it might have been too soon, too
Yeah,
not enough
yeah,
time
well,
or something like that.
that
yeah.
and I don't have the reach. So
Well, social media doesn't have the reach these
well,
days.
that's true. That
Like,
is true.
Yeah, it's a dead fish. No, but this was good. You know, like this is always fun because this is stuff we don't get to normally do. You know, and we're so hyper focused on issues, and we will obviously if there are announcements about the new, more specific announcements
Hmm.
about the Legion of Superheroes, we'll just drop that in a regular episode like we normally do, and save this kind of episode for maybe like another 6 months. Like maybe every half year might be fun to do something like
Yeah.
this, unless we get inspired, or maybe there's like, now that we have done one, you and I can like in all of our notes we could keep little notes, and like if we get enough topics that warrant doing it earlier, we can. But
Mhm.
you know, again, this is a fun way to take a little break from the main feed, the main podcast, and just gab and talk about Legion. So we hope you enjoy this.
Yes. So what are we doing next?
So we're going to go back to Legion of Superheroes. We're going to jump in with Legion of Superheroes issue 51. So we're going to go back to the Legion
Yes.
project, and probably we'll do that for about 3 episodes, I think, before we have to hit another Tales because of the annual that's coming out, the very last annual, to finally end the whole Starfinger stuff.
I have been enjoying not having to talk about that character.
I know. I know. So issues 51, probably 51 through 53, a little bit of a spillover of what happened in issue 50, and then we'll get to the annual. We're actually doing the annual like a tiny bit out of order, but it makes sense because there's like a cliffhanger between 52 and 53. So instead of splitting that story up, it's like, let's just get to it. The annual exists on its own, you know.
Mhm.
But for the next episode, Legion of Superheroes issue 51, which
All right.
I don't know if I've ever read. So
I haven't, and it involves my favorite Legionnaire, Brainiac 5. So
Okay. And I haven't read it yet. Anyway, still haven't read it. So as we mentioned, go listen to Legion of Superheroes issue 50, episode 50. Go listen to the Supergirl saga, the last episode. That was a great episode. And any last words, Eric?
no, I don't think so. This was, like I said, like you said, this was a lot of fun, and yeah, I can't wait to do this again when we actually have some more stuff to talk about. But
Yeah. This was good. All right. If you want to email me, that's peter@thedailyrios.com. And Eric?
you can email me at longboxreview@gmail.com.
So thanks again for listening to this Tales episode 18. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.